Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy E2 Blue coming back at you again. And guess what? This is what you all been waiting for. This is what you all been waiting for. Yes, indeed. Scott Linehan has been let go by the Dallas Cowboys. Gotta get a Jason Garrett hand clap on that one. This is what everybody wanted, for Scott Linehan to be fired, and he is gone. He is gone. Thank God Almighty. He is gone. It's like, no, but seriously, let's delve into this for a minute. Now, Scott Linehan was here during the latter part of Tony Romo's era. Tony Romo did not go by his calls because Tony Romo knew this offense in and out. He technically didn't need an offensive coordinator, to be honest with you. He ran his own plays because Tony Romo knew the offense. He can do that. You know, he has years of experience with this offense, so he knew. When they knew that Dak Prescott was coming in to be the quarterback and this became Dak's team, this whole talk about Dak-friendly offense, all this other crap, you guys do realize this is the same exact offense from when Tony Romo was here, which I had said before when I first started my channel a year ago, that they needed to make changes for Dak Prescott, which they chose not to do for whatever reason. Dak Prescott is a whole different quarterback than Tony Romo is. Scott Linehan and Jason Garrett as well, they both are not good at developing young quarterbacks or just developing quarterbacks in general. You look at the different quarterbacks that we had in here, just playing spot duty. When we had Brandon Weeden here, when we had what's his name, Matt Castle here, you look at these guys are veterans in the league. They know how to play, but they could barely win a game when they were here with us. Because why? Because we don't make adjustments to who's on the field. We don't play to the strengths and of whatever quarterback that we have out there. You look at Brandon Weeden, he went to the Texans after, and I think he's still the backup over there. And he went out there and he played spot duty as a starting quarterback when he left here to go to the Texans, and he put them into the playoffs. Now, but couldn't bust a grape when he was here, and he was here for 2 seasons. So, what was the issue? You know, everybody keeps all these Dak haters talking about, oh, it's Dak and this and that. Well, it wasn't just Dak that couldn't perform in this offense. It was other quarterbacks outside of Tony Romo, because Tony Romo knew it inside and out. It was his offense, so that's why he was able to counteract those things. And he was a gunslinger, a whole different type of quarterback than Dak Prescott. There's no comparison there. So you look at Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott comes in here, bright-eyed, young, mature guy that wants to learn to get better on an everyday basis. It's imperative that he has a coordinator that knows how to deal with young, mobile quarterbacks, which Linehan cannot do. Now, we all say, oh, you know, it's a joke about Vanilla Hand, and yes, his plays are weak, but I look at it like this. I'm not gonna, I can't, you know, as much as I've said about him too, you know, because we joke about it all the time, but you know, I'm not going to say that he's a terrible offensive coordinator, because he's been around the league for a reason. Now, granted, he hasn't had a great resume, but I think that he would be a better coordinator for a more veteran type of quarterback. Now, I don't know the full scale of what he did or didn't do when he was with the Lions, because I don't know many Lions fans, so I haven't talked to their fan base to see what they thought about him. But I know that when he came here, they were clapping that he was gone. So obviously, it ain't just us. So he had a gunslinger over there. He had Matt Stafford. I've heard some people say that Matt Stafford was that he didn't like his play calling either. But again, Matt Stafford knows that offense over there. So I can't really gauge Linehan really when it comes to who he would be better for, but it don't matter. He's gone. I look at it like this. I'm glad that he's gone. I've said since the beginning of this season that Dak Prescott needs one. He needs a quarterback's coach too. And you see what they do with Kellen Moore, because I think that if you get somebody that is a closer a player that's older than Dak, not somebody that's below his level. Because to me, Kellen Moore was here a little longer than Dak was. But you look at skill-wise, I still think that Dak's better. How can you teach somebody that they're better than you? I don't know. I just don't get that. And I don't think that he's the answer there. He needs a quarterback coach. I think that he might need a veteran quarterback on this team too to help him out during this process too, just for another year, just so he can get this offense down to the point where he doesn't need to second think things. You know what I mean? Like, so he's not sitting there, like, he can look and be confident in what he's doing. You know what I mean? Like, because again, he doesn't have a grasp of the whole offense. This is the reason why I guess Linehan felt like he needed to put straps on him, but that was the wrong thing to do. For a young guy like that that's very cerebral, all you got to do, like I said, the inconsistencies, the up and down, it's like he would give Dak Prescott some leeway. Then all of a sudden, the next game, he would put the straps on him. That's why you kept seeing some games where we would beat a team by some points, and then the next week we'll get our ass whooped. Again, you got to be consistent with it. If you're going to allow him to be him, allow him to be him. I was okay with Scott Linehan just telling Dak, hey, I want you to call this play, but then there's 2 or 3 other options that you can go here. And depending on what you see on that defensive front and what they're throwing at you, I will give you the opportunity to switch up the plays and do whatever you want to do as far as making things happen right there. Now, you can tell when Dak is uncomfortable because those are the plays where Scott Linehan does not give him options. And Scott Linehan's like, this is the play I want you to run, and this is it. And you can tell because when he snaps the ball, he hurries it up. He knows where exactly he's going with the ball because that's the way the play is. That's how the play, that's what they schemed up. So with that being the play, he's going to go to that player, but he doesn't realize that, you know, you just got to slow it down a little bit. Even though you're going there, you can't make the defense know exactly what you're going to do. You got to kind of look it off and come back to it. You still got to go through your reads, even though you already know where you're going with it. And see, that's something that a young quarterback still has to learn. And I think he would get that. But again, my whole thing, I just felt like neither Jason nor Linehan was there to basically tell these guys, to tell him, okay, this is what you should do. I don't know what they're doing on the inside, but it doesn't look like that they're sitting down with him and doing the things that you need to do with a young quarterback that's still learning. I think that Dak can be a great quarterback in the future. My whole thing is this. He's still going through this learning process because being a quarterback is not just about the ability. It's a cerebral part to it. You got to know what you're doing. You got to know the X's and O's. You got to know the chalkboard. That's why when they draft these guys, they want to know not that you can do it on the field, but if you can handle pressure, if you can, if you're able or not to be poised in the pocket like Dak normally is, if you're able to go through all your reads, your feet, your hand placement on the ball, everything they criticize everything that you do, and all that matters. Now, again, Scott Linehan, in my opinion, was not good for this. Jason Garrett said himself that, you know, it was a hard decision, blah, blah. You know, him and Scott Linehan have a good relationship. They were able to talk about a lot of things, but it was a mutual, well, what they say, it's a mutual decision. And we look at it like this, you know, we value Scott Linehan, but we're just going to a different direction. And that's what they needed to do. It was all this speculation all week about whether he was going to get fired or not. And Jason Garrett said at first that wasn't going to be no changes. He probably shouldn't have said that. He probably should have just was like, we're not going to talk about that right now and just leave it at that, you know, because, you know, media is going to ask you all types of questions about stuff like that. So you just got to be ready. You know, everybody was in a frenzy about, oh my God, we're going to have to go another year with Scott Linehan. We got to go through this and go through that. Like I said to you guys before, when I did my last video, that it's smoke screens. Don't pay attention to that. The person that you need to pay attention to is Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones. Those are the two guys making the decisions on this team right now. I don't listen to a lot of that other stuff because I know that when they say one thing, they always going to do something else because they're not going to tell you what they're going to do. And that's morally incorrect. You can't just say, oh, yeah, we're going to fire this coach at the end of the week. He's gone. He's gone. He's terrible. Nah, Oh, we're not going to do that. Even if they think that, they're not going to openly say that to the media. They're not going to be like, hey, this guy sucks ass. We're just going to fire him right now. Like, no, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. That's like you being at your job and you're late for work every day, or you're not performing on your job well, and your boss has a conference call with the executives and they're asking, what are the numbers looking like? How are your guys doing? Well, such and such over here, Johnny over here, he doesn't come back from lunch on time. He's always late. He doesn't get his reports in. Oh, we're going to let him go today. You don't do that. That's just, it's morals to that. And you just can't do that. So, again, I know all of you guys are excited about this news right now. I don't know what they're going to do for a replacement. They could go within the organization. There's been speculation that they've been looking for a potential candidate outside. There's been talks about Sean Payton, but that ain't going to happen because he's not going to go from a head coach to a coordinator. It'll be head coach to head coach, and I don't think they're getting rid of Jason Garrett because they already said they were going to extend him. Now, my opinion is this. I'm okay with Jason Garrett still being on this team as long as Linehan is gone. That's what I said before. Now that Linehan is gone, Jason Garrett has no more excuses. So if we get a new coordinator that's good and we still don't do anything, then you got to get rid of the coach. But for right now, I'm okay with Jason Garrett being him because I have to respect the fact that the players respect him. The players still want to play for him. They haven't given up on Jason Garrett. So as long as your players are still in with your philosophy, great. I think that Jason Garrett is a great coach when it comes to Monday through Saturday because that's when he implements his game plan. That's when he implements his philosophy to his team and how focused he wants them to be. And they listen to him. They genuinely do. It's just that Linehan. And another thing that I thought about too, and this is something that I know you guys probably didn't think about. Think about this. The quarterback is a big person in this because the offensive coordinator the quarterback is directly affected by the actions of the offensive coordinator, or thus the lack of. So I'm pretty sure that Jason Garrett had a private conversation with Dak behind closed doors, no media, no other person, just them two. And he probably sat down and had a little quick meeting and was like, look here, Dak, let's go from the beginning of the season all the way until now. Let me know what you thought about these particular. They probably sat there and was watching film together, and they were like, all right, let me know where your mindset was here. What did you think about this when Linehan called this? How did that make you feel? How was Linehan when you made mistakes or threw an interception? How was Linehan when he called a play, but you didn't call that play, but you did something else and it worked, or vice versa? So And he probably asked for Dak's opinion. Like, what do you think? If we got rid of Scott Linehan, how would you feel about that? And I really think that Jason Garrett actually spoke to Dak and talked to him and had a private conversation with him because it only makes sense. Because you look at it like this. He is the one that's directly affected by the coordinator. Now, I guarantee you guys, if we get I don't know if we're going to get somebody from the collegiate level. I don't know who's out there right now. I guess we'll find out soon enough. And I'll be talking about that too. But look at it like this. He needs somebody that's great with young mobile quarterbacks. And there's a lot of them out here now. You got Baker Mayfield, you got Lamar Jackson, and of course Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes' biggest knock when he came out of school was they didn't know whether he knew the X's and O's like that. You know what I mean? Yes, he was a gunslinger, and yes, he's a mobile guy, and yes, he takes chances. But again, the coaching staff that you have and the way how creative they are with you makes a big difference. And I guarantee you, if we get a coordinator that comes in here that's aggressive and able to make adjustments, I guarantee you Dak will be a better quarterback. I guarantee it. And I'll say this, because of that reason, he is going to be a better quarterback with a better coordinator because he is able to be him. When you see Dak out there uncomfortable, that's never a good thing. So Oh yeah, also they also fired Doug Colman. I guess that don't matter because he was the assistant special teams coordinator. Special teams coach behind Keith O'Quinn. He was only here for a year. They got him from the Texans. They said that he wasn't a good fit in Dallas, but I don't know how you can really determine an assistant. But does that mean they're going to get rid of Keith O'Quinn too, the special teams coach? I don't know, but it's going to be some changes in this staff, and maybe more than we think it is. But we'll be talking about that going further. But for right now, Scott Linehan is gone, y'all, and I guess it's something, a small victory. Now, let's see what we do next. With that being said, y'all, thanks again to all my subscribers. I appreciate all you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments section. It's your boy E2 Blue, always keeping it real. I'll talk to y'all soon. Have a great Friday.